Hello everybody, in today's video we're going to be going over a cold pattern which the western and central United States will be going into, as well as a later pattern that will bring cold air to portions of the Northeast and Great Lakes areas. And then we're going to be talking about how snowy and cold the Rockies will be, and we even have some record high potentials for portions of the central and southern plains, as well as the southeast, where you guys could also see some very warm temperatures. We'll be going over all of that in today's video. So here's the current National Weather Service page. We currently see some high wind watches and warnings in effect for portions of northern Montana. We also see some winter storm watches in effect for parts of California and Montana because of that storm. Winter weather advisories also in effect because of that snowstorm we'll be talking about. We see red flag warnings in effect for Montana, Nevada, and California, and air quality alerts for portions of western California. We'll also be going over the European and GFS model in today's video if you are curious. So here's the GFS model, then we'll go into the European model, and we'll show you how much snow both of them are predicting. Here would be by tonight. We're looking at that system off of the Oregon coast, really bringing a lot of that rainfall. We see another system. So here's your first system. This is your main low pressure system by this point. Here's your second system. What these systems are going to do is they're going to rotate around each other. This one will become the one that's on the bottom. This one right here will become the one that's on top. And we're going to see this one really impact portions of the northern plains. The other one will actually turn into another system which moves out into the plains. So it is a very, very dynamic system and a very, very dynamic pattern. We're also going to see high wind gusts throughout these regions particularly, so you have to keep an eye on that if you do live within those regions. So here to be by tomorrow morning, we're looking at some of that rain snow mix start to set up. Again, we see that first system, this system dive down and it's now into Nevada. We see that other system which was off the coast of Oregon diving down as well. This one will overcut this one. This one will continue southward and move over here. It is a bit of a confusing pattern, but in the end, eventually both of these will be out within a week or two. But these are going to stall out over these regions, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So by this point, we're now seeing this one has been, so this system has now moved a little bit further to the north. This one's sliding underneath. We're seeing some rain snow mix for Nevada and California. This would be by Friday night, so tomorrow night. Here would be by Saturday morning. We're looking at that low pressure system up in the northern Rockies. We see that second one that's going to be diving into portions of the northern plains. Maybe brings a brief snow shower to these regions. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a later video. Here to be by Saturday night. As you're getting to Sunday morning, we're looking at the heavy snowfall for portions of the northern Rockies, even into portions of the Cascades and Sierras, and then down through the central and southern Rockies. You guys are dealing with a rain snow mix depending on your elevation. Look at these winds ahead of the storm. We're seeing winds coming out of the southwest, which is actually going to bring very warm temperatures. Temperatures could be in the 70s, 80s, and even some 90s throughout portions of the desert southwest. So it is going to be a very cold pattern. Just to the west of there, though, you will be dealing with a little bit of a chillier pattern where you'll have lows in the 30s and 20s. Now here would be by Sunday morning. Most of that snowfall now by this point into the northern Rockies, and now you're seeing that second system dying down a little bit. We see this is your second system. Here's your main system cranking up the winds up through portions of the central United States. This system again is going to move into the northern plains. We see that second system that's going to ride up into Canada, and we're seeing most of that snowfall on the western end of the storm. Let's play this through even more. Here would be by Sunday night, and then here would be by Monday morning. It's all said and done with. So that would be Monday morning, I believe the 9th of November, if I'm not mistaken. So here would be by tonight, and we're looking at some of that rain snow mix. This would be the European model, by the way. We're looking at some of that rain snow mix for the northern Rockies as well as the Cascades in Oregon and Washington. And then as we play this through, we have to look at the entire continental U.S. view because there's no good zoomed in view of the western United States on this website. And we're looking at snow and rain and a mix of precipitation for parts of Oregon, Nevada, and California by this point. This is Friday morning, so tomorrow morning. Here we get to tomorrow afternoon and evening time on the west coast, and we're looking at for Oregon, Nevada, California. Most of that rain is switching over to snow, especially in the interior areas. As you get further and closer to the coast, it's staying all rain, and it will stay all rain. So this is not going to get all the way down to the coast. This isn't going to give snow to Portland, Seattle, those regions. So it's going to be confined a little bit further inland, and it will be mainly the highest snowfall totals will be in those highest elevation regions. Now, here would be by Saturday morning. And then here to be by Saturday night, and this is when it's really going to start to get going. We're seeing most of that snowfall over portions of the inner mountain west. We're looking at a bit of a rain-snow mix along and ahead of this front, which would be right along the spine of the Rockies. Here would be by Sunday morning, and we're looking at a very heavy amount of snowfall dumping through portions of Idaho and Montana, where you could see snowfall amounts closer to an inch per hour in some scenarios. Then as we get to Sunday night, as we're getting into Monday morning by this point, so this would be right around, I believe, 11 p.m. Mountain Time by this point, and we're looking at some of that snow. Heavy snow is now departed. It's mainly light to moderate snowfall. We see that second system in the southern and central Rockies, and that again will be heading to the north and east. We'll cover that in another video. This big system is providing a lot of rain, snow, and ice to parts of central and southern Canada, and eventually that'll all move out of here, and it'll move out to the north and to the east. Now, here would be by Monday morning, and it's pretty much all said and done with by that point. So here's the Kuchera snowfall totals, and this is adjusting it based on the temperatures in the atmosphere. So, for example, when you have a warmer atmosphere, you end up getting less snowfall per inch of rainfall that you would normally get. If you have a colder atmosphere, you can pump out more snowfall per inch of liquid rainfall. So you will see a much snowier atmosphere because you're going to see temperatures close to zero in some of these regions. So you'll be able to pump out maybe closer to 20 inches per 1 inch of liquid precipitation. We're looking at anywhere in those grays, a dusting to 2 inches, 2 to 6 in the blues, 6 to 10 in the purples, and in the pinks, you're looking at 10 to 20. In the lighter pinks, that's 20 to 30, and in the blues, that's 30 to 40 plus inches of snowfall. And you can see a little bit of that for northern Montana. Really, for much of the western United States, you're going to be looking at between 2 and 6 inches, maybe a couple areas getting 6 to 10 inches. Highest elevation regions could pick up closer to 1.5 to 2.5 feet of snowfall, and again, in parts of Montana, some areas could pick up as much as 3 feet of snowfall, especially in those highest elevation regions. But even as you get into the lower elevations of Montana, you guys will still be picking up closer to 18 inches, especially in north central Montana. So let's start talking about the GFS model, and then we'll look at those temperatures over the next couple of days. We're looking at, again, pretty much the same story, where you're looking at maybe 18 plus inches, closer to 20 plus inches for parts of Montana and Idaho, and in the southern and central Rockies, as well as parts of the Cascades and Sierras, we're looking at mainly 2 to 6 inches. Some highest elevation regions getting 6 to 10 plus inches, maybe closer to 12 inches in some regions. So let's start talking about those temperatures here, and these are going to be your low temperatures. So this would be for Sunday, November 8th, so in a couple days, 2 days here. We're looking at a bit of a trough in the eastern United States, just some lingering cold air, but mainly your cold air is going to be restrained to the western United States as this big trough digs in. So you're going to see a big trough moving through, and ahead of that, you're going to see those warm winds coming out of the southwest. That's going to propel your temperatures up into the 60s for your low temperatures. So let me break down the colors for you guys. The darker reds and the purples, that's indicating anywhere from 0 to about 20 degrees, 20 to 30 degrees in the lighter reds, and the whites, that's around 30 to 40, 40 to 50 in the lighter blues, and the medium shades of blues, that's 50 to 60, and then in the yellows, that's 60 plus degrees. Once you get into the orange, that's 70 to 75, 80 degrees. So your low temperatures in parts of the plains are up in the 60s, and these are actually record high minimums, meaning that you have record, your low temperature is the highest it has been for that day on record. So it's a bit confusing, but these, just to sum it up, it'll be very warm over portions of the central plains. Some high temperatures could get into the 70s and 80s, and look at this behind it, you have those north easterly winds and northwesterly winds where you're getting that cold air to really press into the western United States. Let's play this through. Here would be by Monday, November 9th. some of those below freezing temperatures in the Sierras, as well as parts of the central and northern Rockies for Idaho, Montana, and Wyoming, giving a little bit of Utah there. Then as we get to Tuesday, that cold front is pushing eastward. Look at that temperature gradient where you have 60s and 70s ahead of there in much of Illinois, and then in Iowa and Wisconsin you have 30s, and that's just one example. That's a very tight temperature gradient, and you will have some gusty winds because of that tight pressure temperature gradient. So you're going to see those warm temperatures overtake the eastern United States, and then eventually that cold front continues to push further and further to the east. And this is mainly because you have that big system, here's your system up in Canada, and it will be digging down with a big trough and a big cold front behind it. And ahead of that cold front, of course, you're going to get those warmer temperatures, and behind that cold front, you get those colder temperatures, and you're going to see that play out very, very potently. Now, here would be by Thursday. That's when that cold air enters the northeast, the Great Lakes, and it's pretty much overtaking much of the northern and western United States. Those warm temperatures hang on for parts of the southeast, and then as we get to the 13th of November, Friday the 13th, we're looking at some 30s and 20s for many of these areas, even some single digits and below zero temperatures out in the Rockies. But that southeast ridge is going to persist, where you're going to have a high pressure blocking the colder air from entering, and you're going to see mainly that warm air be pulled up from the Gulf of Mexico and then recirculated. So we have a very dynamic pattern, and I'll definitely be updating you guys on the storm and many other storms that are going to be going on. We have a hurricane out in the Caribbean. We have this big storm out in the western United States. We have cold air for the northern United States, very warm air for the southern and central United States. So there's a lot to cover, and I'll be covering all of it on my channel. So make sure you are subscribed, turn on notifications, and make sure you leave a like on the video so it gets out to more people. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.